And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
Well, good day, everyone. It is time for the Weighing In podcast. The real Punk, Josh Thompson, and I, John McCarthy, are here to talk about the highlights in combat sports that I think I just killed. Misha Tate, I took her head off. This is bad. My Christmas ornament went bad.
Just destroying stuff in the house, as always, as Miss McCarthy says. He just can't seem to keep things together in the house. All right, guys. Hey, go to the link down below. Hit that link. That'll take you to our Weighing Interjection show on our Weighing In Extras channel. And that clip right there, we talk about the Islam Makhachev fight against Dariush and the potential outcry, or not outcry, but the outcome of that. Outcome of that will lead to what? As well as Kevin Lee getting cut. So you guys enjoy. It's a short little show that we do on our extra channel only. So you guys can click that link down below. That'll take you to our Weighing In Extras channel, and you guys can watch that show. It's a great little show we do for you guys. All right, John. Well, let's get this thing pumped up and let's get it started, my man.
So now we're going to bring in the two-time Olympic gold medalist, the two-time PFL champion, the one and only, the one that is bringing all of this news about the 145-pound division, making a lot of waves. It is Kayla Harrison. Well, we are lucky enough to have the two-time Olympic gold medalist, the two-time PFL lightweight champion, the lady that is setting the world on fire in MMA, undefeated, talking about possibly making a change because she wants to fight a couple of those other big studs out there like Chris Cyborg and Amanda Nunes. We have the one and only Kayla Harrison. How are you doing there, girl?
I mean, I'm in great company, aren't I? So I'm having a fantastic
week. Look at that.
I can't disagree.
You just made Josh smile.
Shit. Look, I got blushing a little bit. Look, my dimples are coming through. Look at this. Oh, gosh. Oh, man. Look, you train an American Top Team. Amanda Nunes is there. But then I also see you train with Austin Vanderford, some of the Bellator fighters that are there. What kind of, because there is, like you said, there is buzz there. Not you said, John said, there's buzz about you potentially thinking about exploring other options, which is smart. That free market, agency, that type of stuff, checking out what you're worth, checking out if you can get more money. That's always very smart. What have they told you about Bellator that has made you kind of consider whether Bellator would be an option for you or not?
I mean, I've just heard nothing but good things. I don't think that I've heard a fighter go to Bellator from another promotion and complain. And that's across the board, from Austin to Johnny to Kyoji. Kyoji's got a big fight coming up this weekend. Everyone seems very happy there, and I've heard nothing but good things. They also happen to have one of the greatest female featherweights. I think she's the greatest featherweight of all time. So they have one of the greatest fighters there of all time. And I met Scott. He was very nice, cordial, seems like a smart guy, sharp guy. So I'm excited. I think that it's another great window for me, another doorway for me to check out and look at the options.
I got to ask you this, because all the time we talk on this show about fighters being smart with their contracts, about looking for the most money. That's why you fight, all those things. As far as, look, this is about being able to get through your career and have money to live on for the rest of your life. And you did that from the get-go. Congratulations. I love it. It makes you smart. That's exactly what we're talking about. But I got to ask you, you've got that background and that competitive nature of you. Is that possibly going to draw you away from what is more money for you to satisfy? I hate to say it, it's your ego, because it is your ego in getting the fights that you want.
Yeah, it's tough. I say this a lot, but what people don't realize when you see me getting these big paychecks and these big paydays is that started when I was 6 years old and I walked onto the mat for the first time, when I was 12 years old in middle school, and all my friends were having pizza at lunch and I was having a plum and a spinach salad and skipping home ec class to go to the gym and lift. And it continued when I moved to Boston at 16 and left behind my family and friends and everyone I ever knew. And I had $5 in my bank account. I had to work 50 hours a week at a hardware store. I had to wake up before school because I was still in high school, go train, go to school, go to work after school, go from work to training, train twice a day, wake up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., do it all over again. So, I was smart about getting paid because I knew that I earned getting paid, whether or not people realize that. I put in years of hard work, scraping by. Being an Olympic athlete is not, you don't do it for fame. You don't do it for money. You don't really do it for anything other than the desire to be the best at what you do and to stand on top of a podium and represent your country and feel that gold medal go around your neck. So, yeah, I had to be smart about it because I also don't have a college education. I didn't want to flip burgers at, Burger King for the rest of my life. So I guess getting punched in the face for $1 million isn't so bad after all. But yeah, this is the other part of that question is, one great fear I have is I've been poor, I've been dirt poor. I've lived off of nothing, and I've been hungry at night when I've gone to bed, and, I don't ever want to be that way again. I also have a family now. I have 2 kids. I have to keep a roof over their head and clothes on their back and food on their table. And that's a responsibility that is the most important responsibility to me. Aside, my ego doesn't hold a candle to the pressure of that responsibility. But this is why I have my coaches and my advisors in my corner. I think that from Dan Lambert to Mike Brown to my judo coaches, Jimmy and Big Jim, to my manager, Ali, the gym manager, Richie, they all have my best interest at heart, and they all have an opinion on what I should do, and I'm going to take their advice seriously. And despite what I may want to do, despite what I think I'm ready for, I'm going to have to listen to them. And if they say jump, I'm going to say how high. So this is the part where I've done all the hard work. I got everyone paying attention to me. I've won every fight in the first 2 rounds this year. I've made a little bit of a statement, and now it's time to do what they think is best.
So that goes to my next question is, you've been able to walk through everybody, like you said, everyone under 2 rounds or in the 2-round mark, and you're making a ton of money. You're winning the $1 million. You're making a lot of money per fight as well. Why even bother entertaining other issues, like entertaining other things? Why? Like, just keep doing what you're doing in the weight class you're doing it. What's that?
I mean, that's something you can't really describe. It's something you can't explain. I mean, I've had this itch, this burning fire inside of me since I was 6 years old. A lot of people wanted to grow up and be a doctor or a firefighter or a singer or an actress. I grew up wanting to be the best in the world at whatever it is I did.
John's had that itch too, and I told him there's medication for that, but it's cake.
It's a good itch. It's a good itch.
It is. I just want to test myself. I just want to, every day I wake up and I want to be the best possible version of myself. And I want to go to sleep at night knowing that I put everything into the day, whether it's being the best mom, whether it's being the best dishwasher, whether it's being the best fighter, daughter, whatever it may be. I want to leave it all out there and live a life worth living. I don't want to wake up every day and live the same day for 50 years. I have a desire to test myself against the best. And I think I also have what it takes. I believe in myself. I believe I can be the greatest of all time.
So so here's the thing. You know what I'm trying to get to is you train with someone who you just said is the best featherweight in the world.
No,
she's the
greatest female fighter of all time. I said Cyborg.
Female, okay. Okay. So Cyborg's the greatest featherweight of all time as of now, right now. And then Amanda Nunes is the greatest featherweight right now.
The greatest, period.
Period.
Okay, so then if we're having this conversation, you train with her. You know what you can do against her.
Yeah.
Like, that's not enough validation for you to say like, hey, I know I can probably beat her, or
everybody knows that fights are different. You can't say that. I mean, do they claim Olympic champion if they throw me?
Well, I would. I might. I'm telling you right now, it's over. I am the worst if I do something like that, I stop. I say champion of the world. I walk off the mat. It is over.
I start asking you where my medal is. That's what I start doing. Where's my medal?
Austin has said that to me before.
Yeah.
He's tried some funny shit and said, "Oh, where's my gold medal?" TOG too. They're all full of it. But
Oh yeah.
it's practice. Practice is practice. You know, under the bright lights is where it counts. And fortunately for me, I think I shine brightest there. So I thrive under pressure.
And you know what? You're just validating everything that I've said for generations of there's nothing you can do in practice that will mimic the real deal. You know, and that's
nothing. That's why I was so upset when PFL took a year off, you know, because I'm like, listen, I'm in the prime of my career. You can't emulate this anywhere else. I don't care how many rounds you spar. There's nothing like that. If you want to get better, you need to compete. I mean, that's in judo. I was on the road. I lived out of a suitcase my whole career. It was from one tournament to the next, to the next, to the next. I went to so many Uzbekistans and Kazakhstans and Chinas and this and that. And you can't even, yeah.
Some crazy places.
But yeah. No offense to Uzbekistanis. God bless.
Oh, I think, you know, our whole thing that we're talking about, you've taken a different path and a different road than other fighters based upon you came in with that background, similar to what, you know, when Gable Steveson was looking at where he was going to go. He's a different package, just like you were a different package when you came into the sport, because you had attained something that most people can never get, and you did it twice, which is amazing, absolutely amazing. But when you take a look at the sport, especially when it gets into ladies that are of that 145, because you've been fighting 155, how hard is it going to be? I know you did it with Invicta. How hard is it for you to get to the 145? And is it something that you can consistently do show after show? Yeah.
I mean, I walk around at about 160 to 165. I woke up at 160 this morning. I do think I can make it in a healthy manner.
Okay.
I don't think I can make it 4 times a year in 5.5 months, like for the PFL. I just don't think that's reasonable. And I think it would take a major toll on my body and on my performance. I also just don't love cutting weight. I don't believe in it. I think it's kind of
it's nasty.
Yeah, it's shitty. It's stupid. It teaches kids the wrong message. And I was always taught that if you wanted to win, you'd win at whatever weight you fought at. It didn't matter. And I just I enjoy food. You know, I love.
God bless you. So do I.
Just look at Big John. It's pretty obvious
baby.
He enjoys food. It's Doritos. He's that's why we were watching Triad.
The Triad is the Dorito
chips.
chip ring. Come on.
All
man.
he was thinking about was food.
That's actually really, yeah. Who doesn't love Doritos, man? Come on.
There you go.
He's probably vegan or something. He strikes me as a vegan.
No,
He's
don't
not
put
a
me in the vegan category. Don't put him in that. Don't put me there. Don't do me like that.
He definitely goes to Starbucks and gets a chai latte.
Oh, no. John knows I like my coffee, just regular coffee.
So let me ask you this. You were at the last Bellator. You watched Chris Cyborg and her performance against Sinead Kavanaugh. What did you see in her that you go, yeah, that's what I expected? What did you see that you go, that was a little bit different than I expected, or was it just exactly what you thought?
Number one, she fought how I expected her to fight. You know, she's very dominant. She's kind of a bully, I would say. That's not in a negative way. That's just how she comes out, and she instills her will right away, which from history, I kind of knew was what was going to happen. The only thing that surprised me was after the fight when I gave her a hug. I was wearing heels though, so maybe it's not the same. But I was surprised she wasn't as big as I thought she was going to be. I know she walks around, or I've heard that she cuts a lot of weight and is a little bit. Everyone always talks about what a beast she is, this, that, and the other. And she looks jacked, obviously. But I was like, oh, it's one of those things where you
make it grander than it is.
Yeah, of course. You glamorize it, you dramatize it, you make them out to be King Kong, and you want to take out King Kong. You want to take him out, but I mean, she's just another human being. She's just another human, just like me.
What when John was talking about, when you saw her fight, when you gave her a hug afterwards, and that feel of this could potentially happen, how close are you really to? Are you thinking about leaving the PFL? I mean, I know you're talking about with Ali and your management. Is it because is there a talking conversation about you potentially not being able to fight at 55 anymore, and then maybe them wanting you to go to 45? Because you've wiped out the division. Like, I think if I'm a promotion, I'm just being honest. If I'm a promotion and going, okay, we're going to keep paying her a ton of money to beat people that are not on her level. We need her to go to 45. And you not being able to, like you just admitted, like, I don't want to make 45 4 times in a year. Like, it's just not my body.
It's not even 4 times in a year, though. It's 4 times in 5.5 months. You know, I just fought 4 times in 6 months. Most fighters don't fight 4 times in a year. Sometimes they don't fight 4 times in 2 years. So we're not. And listen, I'm not complaining because I believe in the PFL. I believe in the format. I believe in the season. I believe that in a meritocracy, and if you want money, win. If you want the glory, win. If you want the belt, win. And every year it starts over. I'm the one that said that's how it should be. You know, that's one of the reasons I didn't like MMA. I said it's too, you know, it's trash talk. It's this, it's that. I don't want to have to be pretty. I don't want to have to talk. I want to just go fight. I want to do my talking inside the cage. And PFL created that. They created an amazing place for fighters to go and be in control of their legacy and control of their destiny. So, no, I'm not in a rush to leave them. I love the PFL. I believe in it. I feel like we have grown together. I helped build that promotion, and they built me into what I am today. I have no ill feelings towards them. I'm very happy there. So it's really about what my coaches and my advisors think is best at this point, because I'm in a very unique situation where I have a lot of opportunity in front of me. I really do. Multiple organizations, and just, you know, I feel very blessed. I feel very honored that I'm in the position that I'm in to kind of choose what I want to do. And I don't take that lightly. And that's why I have to listen to them, because I will happily stay with the PFL. You know, I'm very happy there. I have no gripes with them. I agree. I get it. You know, you got to bring in tough competition, which is something we've talked about, which is why they signed Julia Budd. And I think they're working on some other fighters, which is why they've broached the topic of cross promotion with Bellator and Cyborg, which I think maybe could happen in the future. So I'm not saying I'm leaving the PFL. I'm not saying I'm going to Bellator. I'm not saying it's really all up in the air right now. We'll see what happens.
Well, as a selfish individual, which I am, I'm just telling you straight out, I want you to come to Bellator, okay? Because I think that you would have some fantastic fights there, and you and Chris together, that's what people look for, those type of matchups, because of your skill set, who you are, what you've accomplished, her skill set, same thing, what she's accomplished. Those are the mega fights that don't come around that often. And so they are special, and anybody that loves this sport wants to see that. My question is this: you've had, you know, Dana White has said some things about you should stay where you're at, and that's fine. You know, a lot of people are going to put a lot into that big deal. Doesn't matter. But when you look at, if I was going to ask you, Kayla, what is it that's most important to you as a person? Is it making the most money? Is it having the recognition of being the best? Or is it kind of a combination of, well, I want both, but one's more important than the other?
You know, I think it's honestly not even just that. I think it's my legacy. I think that it's, obviously, I have a very selfish desire to be the best.
That's not selfish.
I mean, it is. You do it just for you. You don't do it for, I mean, it's not curing cancer. That's not curing cancer. I do it because I do have an ego, and I do want to prove that I'm the best. So you were right when you said that. But I do have that. I also am a human being, and I want to make a shit ton of money, for sure. Like, who doesn't? Who wants to go to bed wondering where their next meal is going to come from? I would love for my family to never have to worry about money again. You know, I would love to take care of all the people who've taken care of me. But I think more important than both of those, honestly, to me, is my legacy, is what I do with it outside of the cage, is how I carry myself, is how I raise my kids, is how I pay it forward, is what I do with the platform that I'm given. And the bigger I get, the bigger my platform becomes, the more I can change the world and make it a place that I'm proud of. So it's neither. It's my legacy. It's what I do with all of it.
Yeah. I look at,
oh, here we go.
No.
He's horrible.
I'm not going hard on the pain. I'm actually with you 100%. You said it's your ego, and you said you're selfish. The thing is, though, is that in individual sports, whether it's judo, whether it's boxing, MMA,
you have to be.
We're selfish people. You have to be selfish.
No, of course.
Because it's only you in that cage. It's only you on that mat getting the job done. Sure, your coaches can yell things to you, but it's up to you to get it done. And so you have to be selfish on what you think is best for you. So you're not saying anything that really should surprise anyone.
Right.
In terms of the money situation. I've always said this. I thought Eddie Alvarez is probably the perfect example. All he's ever done is gone where the money has been the highest paid. And that's brilliant on his part. And I love the idea of where you're going, especially because you are new in the sport. Sure, you came from the judo background, but you're new in the sport. But you have great management in Ali. You've got great coaches in American Top Team. They understand exactly because they've dealt with the sport itself for so long. Your guidance is definitely 100% in the right direction. Is there a reason that you would choose? For me, I feel like the reason would be for you to choose Bellator over the UFC is because you do train with Amanda Nunes. Is that fight with Amanda just not really in the market for you?
No, I wouldn't say that at all.
Okay.
That
really
right there says everything I need to know about you. It is. I'm just being honest. That is the mentality. It's like, hey, I can be your friend and I can beat the shit out of you too. Okay?
Absolutely.
Because Josh and I are friends, and I'd beat the shit out of him right now because God knows he needs it.
Kayla, he fell on me one time like a tree. That was it. That's all he did. He didn't beat me up. Yeah. He just tripped, and I was underneath him like stuck.
Bitch.
He tripped.
Cannot
I have it on
take
video.
The fact that he's
I've got it on video, Kayla.
A referee takes him down and just holds him there and slaps him.
It was like timber. He just fell on top of me.
I'm gonna have to see this footage. We're gonna have to run it back.
They have it.
Ridiculous.
We're gonna have to have a charity match of some sort. I think
he just fell on me and almost killed me.
All we do is fight in elevators now.
So it's the best time. It's the only time we're usually walking back from the club. No, the bar.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine me carrying Big John? He's got one arm over my shoulder. I got to stumble into the elevator with him.
Honestly, I have major respect if you guys go to a club. I can't even. Oh my God.
Even know. We don't go to clubs.
God,
Does
no.
John look like he goes to a club?
God,
no.
The thought alone.
I am too old. I'm a granddad, man. I got grandkids. I ain't going to no damn thing.
John's out there cutting it up at the dance club.
I could see it. I can see him busting a move.
I busted a move. That's it. All right. Well,
okay, so
go ahead. I'm sorry.
So my question is this: and you can take this how you want. Do you feel like you need somebody like a Chris Cyborg or Amanda Nunes to validate your legacy?
I mean, there are a couple different approaches, right, to a legacy. I think in my particular case, could I retire undefeated and never fight them and be 50-0 and be considered, one of the greatest? Maybe. Am I going to fight 50 fights? Probably not. So do I need these females, these women, these legends of the sport? Yeah, I do. Just like a couple years from now, the next young, hungry, up-and-coming killer is going to need me. Mm-hmm. And it's a rite of passage. It's part of the sport. It's part of life. It's part of everything I've ever been a part of. So I do think I need the Chris Cyborgs. I think I need them more than they need me. I feel no harm in saying that. I think it's the truth. I'm always a pretty honest person, and that's the greatest compliment. I've said it a million times, but it is the greatest compliment I can give to them, is that I want to fight them. I want to become them, And I hope someday someone says they want to fight me and they want to become me. That's the greatest compliment you could give me.
I think you're right. I think that's a fantastic way of looking at it, a fantastic way of just making people understand. This is my way of saying I respect you. I respect
Absolutely.
what you've done, and I love it. Let me ask you this: as far as you've put all this work into being, this very good MMA fighter. You were an incredible judo player. Now you're an incredible MMA fighter. What is tougher, judo, MMA, or mom?
Is that a joke?
No, because I'm telling you right now, moms are tough.
No, mom's hands down. Okay. Being a mother is the scariest, most overwhelming, most underappreciated, most exhausting, exhilarating, joyful, sorrowful, highest of highs, lowest of lows job that I have ever had. It is the scariest thing I've ever done.
Yep.
It's also the most rewarding thing I've ever done. I've never, if you ask me what meant more to me the first time my son said, "I love you, mommy," or the gold medal that I have,
I know.
I don't even know where it is. Is it, I have no idea where it is, that would be my son. There's just the day I adopted them. I don't know if I've ever felt such pure joy. Words don't even do it justice, and it's the toughest thing I've ever done, for sure. The scariest, most overwhelming. And 90% of the time I'm scared shitless that I'm doing it wrong. And that I'm like,
you're not alone.
Is this the way you do it? But I don't know. I firmly believe everything happens for a reason. I didn't know how empty my life was until I got those two babies, and my life has never been better. It really hasn't.
I can tell you this. Like when
shit that I look exhausted, but it's like it's an exhaustion.
I wasn't
labor of love. Labor of love.
That's it. You tell him.
I forgot the first thing you never say to a woman is that you look tired. You don't say that, and and I obviously overstepped right from the get go. It's okay.
You didn't. Oh my God, relax.
She's like, oh my gosh,
you're not on trial here. You can tell me I look tired. I'll tell you I think your hair looks goofy. It's all good.
It's the way it grows out. It's the way it grows out. Nothing I can do.
I will tell you that, and this is the truth. My oldest son is older than you. He's 35 years of age. My daughter is the same age.
No, sir.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. When and
this is how old are you?
He's almost 80. Look at him. Can't you tell? He's got the Sharpay.
You are
the
just
Sharpay
horrible.
Chin. Droopy
you don't
from
see
the
no droop there.
Droopy.
Just because I said you had 3 chins tonight, look, now you're trying to go with that.
This
all right.
guy.
I will tell you this, and it's the truth. When my first son was born, they put him on the thing, and he grabbed my finger, and the first thought that went through my head was, anyone tries to touch my kid, and it could be a 4-year-old, I will punch you in the mouth right now. And that's it. And I'm telling you right now, it never changes, and they will always be a worry to you. They will always be something that you're concerned about, and they'll always be the joy of your life.
Yeah. It's a pretty amazing feeling to just to see them thrive, and to I adopted them obviously, so I didn't get the experience of having them hold my finger or any giving.
They hold your finger now.
They do. Oh no, they've got me wrapped around their fingers now. That's what they do.
That's what grandkids do.
No, I run a tight ship. We have a good system, but I will tell you that watching them coming from the trauma that they've come from, and watching them flourish, and watching them thrive, and watching them become fearless, and seeing them grow, watching the joy on their face. I'm teaching my son Imri judo, and watching him learn how to throw somebody and how excited he gets. And Kayla, when she first moved here, she was terrified of water. Now she's doing front flips into my pool, and seeing all of that, I've never felt it makes me feel better about me making them better, if that makes any sense. It's just such an amazing feeling. And you're right, I would absolutely kick the shit out of a 4-year-old.
There you go. That's my girl.
No, don't mess with my kids. But everybody knows, so it's all good.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but if your mom is, a 2-time champion, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, I'm not really bringing my kids a whole lot around them just in case something does happen. I'm not trying to get my ass kicked. I'll hard pass, especially like if I'm like a former fighter, but I'm a lot older and I'm like, okay, now if she whoops my ass, now how bad do I really look? Right?
That would definitely happen.
No. Kids, stay away.
I saw her looking at Austin and stealing Paige Van Zandt and saying, "You ain't doing nothing."
Oh, that's so great. I love it.
Paige and I are. Austin's jealous for sure. Austin is all he does is like sit in his underwear all day and play video games and fight. So I'm like, Paige, honey, come here. Look, I have my Christmas tree up. We can make cookies. We can go shopping at Target together and drink wine. Like, you don't need him.
There you go.
Let's get back. I want to get back to the American Top Team training situations. Talk to me about some of the people you train with there. Talk to me about the chemistry in that gym. Talk to me about just the coaches and how it all works. I mean, like a lot of people, like, should we talk about them? When fighters are fighting from that camp, we talk about them in high regard. But people want to know the behind the scenes a little bit without giving too much away, okay? Because that's not what we're doing here. But let's be honest. Like you guys have something that's really special there.
Yeah, we do.
Whether it's Dustin Poirier, whether it's, Austin Vanderford, whether it's yourself, Amanda Nunes and everything else that goes into that, Joanna and everyone else that's there. You guys got a great camp out of there. Talk to me about that camp.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I don't know if you're aware of this or not. You missed one accolade when you introduced me, 2-time this, 2-time that. You forgot team captain of American Top Team. So I'll forgive you guys this one.
There you go.
My bad.
No, honestly.
I thought that would have been Masvidal. Sorry. No.
Oh, my God. Have you seen his life and his story? A team captain is someone who leads by example and he does all the right things, not all the wrong things to get to the right things.
I love Masvidal, man. He's an OG. He's one of my all-time favorites, man.
He's an amazing human too. He's one of those guys who walks in the room and just brings the energy up. That's awesome. You train harder when you're around him, and he brings out the best in people. And it's an honor to share the mats with the likes of him, with Dustin, with Amanda, with Joanna, I could list with Austin, with Paige, with Kyoji. Kyoji is literally the best fighter, in my opinion, of this generation. That's how good he is. People have no idea. And I think that we're the best for a reason. Number one, we've been around for a long time. Dan, aside from being obsessed with pro wrestling, is also obsessed with MMA. He's a nerd. He can't.
Oh, he is a nerd.
Yeah, so is our producer.
Those that kid do watch or build giant MMA gyms to have people come train at. So we've been around for a long time. We've made a lot of mistakes. They've had a lot of drama and a lot of bullshit and a lot of craziness happen. But they've also developed a system and a winning system, in my opinion. And they have some of the greatest minds on the mat. My coach, Mike, this guy he's a psycho. He's absolutely obsessed. If he was independently wealthy, if he won the lottery tomorrow, he would be at practice at the same time doing the same thing. He watches every fight. He has these breakdowns of inch by inch of fights and players and fighters and techniques. And he's always evolving, always changing, always growing with the sport, because the sport is constantly evolving in the most rapid way. That's one of the reasons I love MMA so much. But you have people, and that's just one guy. You got Anderson, you got Conan, you got Pahumpa, you got Steve Bruno, you got, Gabriel, Mako, everybody.
Okay, Mako's crazy, just so everyone knows. Okay, let's just be honest. Steve Mako is crazy. I love the guy. He's awesome.
Mako Monday.
And you also got Mo Law out there now.
Sorry, say that again?
And you also have King Mo out there.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, King Mo. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I mean. We just have this entire just friggin' smorgasbord of knowledge, And I think it's also a beautiful thing now in the sport of MMA, where to the point where we have coaches who did MMA. We don't have boxing coaches. We don't have just wrestling coaches. We don't have just, we have coaches who fought. And that's something that's really helping the game develop even more rapidly, because once you've experienced that, once you've been inside a cage, your knowledge, your wisdom, the ability to see things changes completely. So yeah, ATT is the best. We're always going to be the best. We're going to end this year with a hell of a high note. I'm very excited for all the fights we have coming up. I'm the team captain, though. Don't ever disrespect me like that again. Master Dog wishes.
Hey, John introduced you first, so blame it on him.
That's
man. I
it.
just
Blame it
followed
on
the
me.
lead, right?
All right.
Okay, so
I got to ask
Go
you
ahead.
this. All right. So all this stuff, good stuff happening in the gym. You're doing great. At the end of 2022, tell me where Kayla Harrison is, where she's at, what she's doing. Doesn't mean you're not say, oh, she's going to be at this promotion, but fight wise, everything. Where do you see yourself just in one year?
What am I right now? 12-0. I'd like to
Yep.
be 15-0.
Okay.
15-0, 16-0. Probably sitting in the same spot talking about free agency or the next contract or the next fight. I mean, I'm probably going to be or getting ready for my last fight of the year. Who knows? But I mean, listen, this is the other thing that I've learned is that patience is a virtue. It's one that I don't really possess, but have learned with children. I'm becoming very zen. We do a lot of deep breathing in this house. You know, we do a lot of. I already feel more grounded.
Feeling good.
Thank you. So I'm not expecting any vast, giant changes, giant jumps. I think that I'm slowly building. I think that I'm a force to be reckoned with, and I'm just going to keep putting one foot in front of the other, taking it one step at a time, one fight at a time, one round at a time, 1 minute at a time, one breath at a time. And I think that I will be so good that all of you guys can't ignore me, and it's just going to keep building, and I'm just going to keep climbing and climbing and climbing, and I'm going to get where I want to go.
Is there a deadline for you to make a decision on what promotion you're going to potentially go to? Because the PFL runs it again, they'll start when? July? June?
I think March or
March. Okay,
April.
so let's say March. They start in March. Like, you trying to get a deal done possibly before March so you can, if you know, or you don't, jump
I
into
was trying to get a
something?
deal done before my last fight ended. I want to get a deal done before the end of the year. I'm not one of those people who can rest on their laurels and be happy with.
Got it.
Yeah, I don't stop to smell the roses. So I would like to have a deal done sooner rather than later, be a giant Christmas present to myself, possibly. But again, patience, trusting my advisors, trusting Ali. He's doing the work. He's doing what he does best. Everybody's talking about me, I guess, whether it's good or bad, they're talking. So.
Hey, that doesn't matter. And we say it all the time. We talk to fighters and they'll get all mad about like social media. It's like, why are you listening to people that want to be you? They're all losers. And so they want to try to bring you down. It's like, don't worry about what any of them say. Just know who you are and where you're going. And that's all that matters.
Absolutely.
John's
I used to be like that too.
What's that?
I used to be like that too. No, I used to care a lot about what people thought of me. And I used to put a lot of emphasis on it. But I realized something. And just through personal growth, I think age plays a big part in it. I watched a Brene Brown special. She's actually a spiritual gangster. But I realized, just dropping her in there in case she ever wants to say hi to me. I realized that I am the man in the arena. I am the person who is out there daring greatly. I am the person out there who is saying, yes, I want to be the best. And if I fall, fuck it, I fall. But I'm going to dare to be great, and I'm not afraid to say it.
You're bringing up Teddy Roosevelt. God bless you.
Exactly.
Hello?
Exactly. Teddy Roosevelt. Exactly. The man in the arena, marred by dust
Not the
and blood.
critic that counts.
It's not the critic that counts.
Well, John and Teddy are the same age, so that makes sense.
We're close.
It's funny. But if you're not
you
in
see how
the
we
arena,
get along, Kayla? You see how we get along?
yeah, I dig it. All right. I'm getting it. But that's my whole point. If you're not in the arena, if you're not daring to be great at whatever it is in your life that you have a passion for, then your opinion doesn't mean shit to me. And that's 99% of the world, because everyone's so afraid to step out of their comfort zone, to be uncomfortable, to be tired, to work hard, to not sleep, to not party, to not drink, to not hang out with their friends, to not be on their phone. Everyone's so afraid to get out of that bubble that they never dare to be what they really want. And that's not me. So I don't give a shit what you think about me.
That's good. I like that. I like that because that leads.
Like, I also don't care if you like it or you don't.
Yeah, of course. Of course not. No, it really comes down to it. I think a lot of parents are dealing with this right now. With the fact that like the kids are on the phone, the kids are on, not just on the phone, making TikTok videos or watching TV or just getting sucked into this thing. I just watched one of Rogan's shows and he had on these two guys that were talking about the social media dilemma and all that stuff. They just went back over and hashed it all and just seeing exactly like how this affects children, not just children, but also adults, and how it shapes their way of view and the way they view not just each other, but people but even their family members as well as other countries. And it becomes a very negative thing. So, I mean, it's good to see that athletes, they have to understand they got to stay away from that type of stuff if they want to stay focused on their goals, and their goals need to be the best.
I mean, not just me, but my kid. Like when my daughter moved in with me, she was absolutely, and this is not a knock on my mom or anyone. My mom's older, but she was absolutely addicted to her iPad. She would wake me up on the weekends at 5:00 in the morning. Mom, can I play my iPad? And I started reading about it and I started looking into it and I'm starting seeing all this, insomnia and ADD and the blue light and this and that and the games and all that. And I'm like, absolutely. We're not, I didn't have an iPad. I didn't have a cell phone until I was in, and I get it. Like, oh, in my day, this, that, and the other, but my kids don't watch TV. We watch TV when we're on the plane. We have a movie night on Friday nights. We have a family movie night, but during the week, sometimes Saturday morning cartoons, depending on how hard training has been throughout the week. But during the week, we are not on electronics. And that includes me. Like I'm not on my phone at the dinner table. I'm not scrolling, not paying attention to them. The most important thing you can be for your kids is present. And that doesn't mean I'm there playing with them because God knows I've got laundry and dishes and it never ends, but I'm not ignoring them to check out whatever's going on. And they're not on electronics. TikTok, we're outside, we're riding bikes, we're swimming, we're this, we're that. Like, I just don't, nothing good has ever come from social media or electronics or my daughter, she asked me for a cell phone for Christmas and I was like, you are absolutely insane. I told you can have a cell phone when you can drive. That's only so I can know where you are. Yeah.
Well, I have a gym and I have a big kids program for wrestling and jiu-jitsu. And a lot of the parents here in the Bay Area, because I live near San Francisco, a lot of them have these new watches that are made by Verizon and it gives them 3 numbers and they can actually call you from that. So there's 911, cool. They have your cell phone and another cell phone. There's like 3 cell phone numbers they can go in there and they can actually call you from their watch. So
that's awesome.
They don't need to have a phone with it. It actually, that is the watch and it has 3 numbers in it as well as 911. And they can also text from it too, but it's a talk text.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, so it's a cool little gadget they have here for the, it's through Verizon, I believe is what it is. So, yeah, I know
that's one of the first things I made Kayla do when she moved in with me. I was like, we're going to memorize my phone number and we're going to memorize our address. It's like little stuff like that. I don't know anybody's phone number by heart anymore, but I still remember my household number from when I was 7.
Right.
Like, cool.
You remember the little dial tones, right?
Don't even talk. Don't even talk.
Big John remembers those.
No. John has the one that you hang it up still, like the one that you like. This that has a little knob. You put it with the cord.
Crank it. You gotta crank it, baby.
Yeah. It was just like there was just someone on the other line. You said, "Yeah, put me through to
Echo 9555."
Jeez, man.
That's awesome.
Okay, so I guess realistically for us, John and I are both selfish, so we want you to come to Bellator.
Of course.
If you don't, but I am also not opposed because we have seen it through Bellator with their cross promotion with Ryzen. I'm not opposed to the cross promotion with the PFL. I think it would make for some really fun fights. I'd love to see if we not just yourself fight, Cyborg, but I'd also like to see other fighters that you guys have. Clay Collar fight someone like a Peter Queally or somewhere along these lines. You have a lot of top. Ray Cooper. I'm sorry, man, but I'm a huge fan of Ray Brother Cooper. And watching him fight, watching him fight a Douglas Lima would be just a great fight. The leg kicks could handle with it. The boxing definitely would be in Ray's favor, I think, a little bit, but they both have power. Just great wrestlers. They're both good. I think I would love to see those type of fights.
No, I mean, it's always exciting to test.
Hold it. Brada Cooper would have to go against another guy from ATT. He'd have to go against Amazov.
No, I'm saying.
Let's be honest.
I want to pick and choose the fights, John. Okay? Let me live in my world, John. I want to pick and choose my fights.
No, you can't pick. That's why you sit in that room. You don't get to pick anything.
Jeez.
Kayla and I are going to pick.
Yaroslav, that's another guy who's just an amazing, phenomenal teammate. Brings up all the energy in the room. Doesn't talk much, but just a whole different level when it comes to fighting.
A guy a whole lot of people have no idea how good he really is.
No, he's a killer. Yeah. No, he's a killer.
Yeah, it's fun because we talked to Austin about him. We talked to Johnny Eblin about him. We've talked to Dalton Rossa. All those guys fight at 185, and they just talk because he's a 170-pounder.
Yeah.
They're like, damn, he's so good.
He's very good. He's very, very good. I get to watch those practices.
But see, here's the thing. He never really wrestled when he was younger. He really just came up a little bit in the Sambo era, but then not really being a real
Do you know what his superpower is? His superpower is being able to, first of all, stay calm and composed, but to keep a 60%, 70% pace throughout the entire fight. He's touching, he's hitting. There's no power, there's no like explosion, there's no big movements, but he just keeps this excellent pace. And he can do it all day. I've watched him do it all day. I've watched him keep that pace and break people down and out wrestle them, out grind them, outwork them. And he is relentless when he gets to that takedown. I mean, he's going to get it. We drill that he has this, like a pickup that he does from the single leg to the body lock. I'm still trying to learn it. He showed it to me and it's like, how did you get so good at this? It feels so hard, but he makes it look so effortless.
Yeah, he's got he's taken down Ed Ruth, a 3-time national champ from Penn State. He out-wrestled Logan Storley, who is a 6-time state champ. I mean, I wouldn't say he out-wrestled Logan Storley, but there was moments there where he out-scrambled him to get to the top position. And that's just unheard of because all the stories, and I've trained with Ed Ruth because Ed Ruth was at AKA when they were fighting. But all the stories I've heard about Logan Storley training with Usman and other guys out of that Sanford MMA is that he's the best wrestler in the gym. And he's just one of the guys that just puts it on people. And he has his way with a lot of guys when it comes just to the wrestling aspect of it. Not MMA fully, but I'm saying the wrestling aspect. And he had moments, Amosov had moments in that fight where he was out scrambling, out wrestling, and making Logan Storley work so hard for the takedown and then not getting it, just mentally breaking people.
Yeah,
it was just phenomenal.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He can break you. He can break you with he just keeps this like composure, this pace, this like.
Why do you feel like someone like him doesn't get the credit he deserves? Why is there not more buzz about him? He's got the best record in all of MMA, the whole sport.
I know.
Of active fighters, 27-0 now.
I think one of the reasons that Khabib is so great is because he learned English. He wasn't afraid to put himself out there and to, even if it's broken English, people want to see you trying, especially our society. We're very arrogant. We think that we know everything and you should speak our language.
Hold it. We don't?
Well, I mean, I do.
Okay, there we go.
I've been working with Mr. Know-It-All for a long time.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
So yeah, I think these young up and coming fighters, where English isn't their first language, I think it's super important that they learn English. Everywhere, most of the world teaches English at one point or another. So
we talk about Amosov, we talk about Kyoji. Both of those guys are phenomenal. They are out of American Top Team.
Kyoji speaks great English, by the way.
Yes, he does.
He's a huge asshole. All right. When he moved to, I'm just going to tell Kyoji stories. When he moved to ATT, he was so quiet, so shy, so respectful, and he started hanging out with Dan. And then
Bad move.
Then he started hanging out with Dan, Richie, and Mike, and Mako, and me. And now this guy talks more shit than all of us. And it's like subtle. He's hilarious, though. No, I love Kyoji. He's one of my best friends. So
But you know what it is? It's when you're winning fights, the confidence grows, and that means the shit talking grows with it. It just keeps going and keeps
His
going.
English just got better. He listened to all of us. He was dead silent for about a year, and then once that year was up, he was like, "All right, I got this now.
Oh, it's so
you're
good.
fat. You're this. You're that. You're." And I was like, oh, "Okay,
Okay,
thank you very much." No.
What do you
There's
think?
another guy.
What do you think of his fight coming up against Sergio?
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. If I didn't have kids, I would be at that fight.
Okay.
But babysitter is tough to find. Mostly because my kids are
Is it
Howard's and everyone's like,
responsibility a bitch?
it really is
I
sometimes.
know.
But it's a great bitch.
It is.
No, I'm so jacked up for it. I think that this is finally going to help raise Kyoji's star power and level, so that people finally take him very serious and understand that when he was in the UFC and where he is now, it's like a completely different beast. He's a completely different animal. He is a samurai. He is the last samurai. Okay. He's fucking amazing. That's it.
There's another guy in your guys' gym is Alexander Shabley. He trains with those guys. And now I've had a chance to train with him. He came to American Kickboxing Academy, AKA, and trained with me over there for a while. And he's got good wrestling. He's got good boxing. Kicks pretty well. What should people look out for him? And he's fighting this weekend as well on this Bellator card.
I don't know as much about him yet. He's a little quieter. But I'll tell you what, all of those guys that come to the gym, I don't have everybody. They're all super respectful. They're all super, super hard workers. He's pretty shy. Like I've tried to talk shit to him a little bit to break the ice, but he's kind of
yeah.
But I think again, he's just another one with untapped potential. And I think that people don't really give them. It's hard, right? If people aren't talking about you, but you're 27-0, does that mean that it doesn't matter? To me, I'm I don't care if I'm 27-0. I know I'm the shit. So why should Yaroslav? He has the belt. Why should Yaroslav care? I think this is another kid who if he continues to do well like he's doing, and maybe he doesn't speak great English. I think because he doesn't. It's
okay. Yeah, it's broken. It's okay.
So I think if he learns some English, he could be. I mean, unless he doesn't have a personality. So who knows? He could be I don't know a ton about him. I'm not going to talk.
No, it's okay. No, I've had opportunities and train with him and stuff. He's very.
No, I think he's another one. I mean, this is the problem. Is they're. How old is he? He's pretty.
He's got to be 26, I think, 20 somewhere in there.
But this is what I mean. They just keep getting better and better and better.
Yeah,
better and better.
They're starting at a young age. They remind me a little bit of how Roy McDonald when he exploded onto the scene.
Yeah.
He's 28 years old. Oh, that's Amasoff. I was looking for Alexander Shabley there. Podcast Dave.
Dave pulling up the wrong guy again.
Not listening to the conversation again. I'm telling you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow. He probably has
So, that's the thing though. Rogan can turn and go, "Hey, pull it up, Jamie," and Jamie's listening to what Rogan's saying. But Dave.
He's also 28. He's also 28. So
he's also 28.
He's also 28. So now apologize to Dave for talking all that shit.
He's also 28. I will never apologize to Dave. I love it. All he does is give us a hard time. He's the guy that shit talks the most when no one else is on.
Honestly, Dave is my favorite.
I mean,
really?
Kayla, I just let you sit here and talk the whole time. I wasn't talking shit about how you looked. I wasn't talking.
I know. That's why he's my favorite. He would be every woman's favorite. He's quiet. He is agreeable. Doesn't say anything.
It's because when he talks, you think it's English, but it's not.
No, it's not. It's Scottish. I don't know what that is, but it's
even
not
better.
English.
You can't understand him. It's even better. I don't want to know. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't want to know what he's gonna say. No, Alexander Shabley, he's good. He's tough. He's fighting this weekend as well. He's a talented kid. I think a lot of them, not just with Amasoff, but with Shabley, as well as any other fighters that come from other countries, they have to learn, like you said with Kyoji. Once he learned how to speak English or got more comfortable speaking English, his stock grew. Not just his stock, but then amongst the gym, it makes it a lot easier to help you build your.
I mean, the guy bought a house. The guy bought a house in Florida. He's making it his home. Yeah. He feels comfortable enough now in our society to live here full time. That's what I mean. Kyoji lived there. The dorms at ATT are literally named Horiguchi Hall. Okay. That's how impressive he is to all of us. I swear to God, Horiguchi Hall, it says it right there. He also lived there for like ever.
Yeah.
Just like a little monk. Like I train, I eat, I sleep, I train, I eat, I sleep. That's it. Like just ridiculous.
Let me get back. I want to get back to you as a fighter.
Oh,
You had all of the, it's all about you, Kayla. It's all about you.
until 6:30 a.m.
There you go. But you had all this experience with, judo and coming into, the Olympics and all that stuff. What was the pressure like in a different fashion from, we'll say, the Olympics, the highest level you can get with judo since you had done it so many times, to when you first stepped in the cage of MMA?
Oh man. Well, first of all, there's no pressure quite like the pressure of an Olympic final. To train your whole life for one day. Also, you have to remember my first Olympic final, an American had never won. We'd come close, but we had no American had ever won a gold medal before. So that kind of pressure, I don't know. I'm not sure I'll ever feel it again. Maybe. But to step inside of a cage for the first time, I was like, oh my God, am I absolutely I must be batshit crazy. Like, why am I doing this? Like it was one of the scariest things I've ever done. It's you train, you fight, you spar, you're working on all these things, you're trying to get better, and like you're locking yourself in a cage with another human who's trying to take your head off. Like when that door closed, like I was like, what am I doing? Why haven't you done enough, Kayla? Like, this is what you're going to do now? You want to get punched in the face? And that's the other thing. In MMA, like I fought the same girls over and over and over again, right? In judo, like you fight the Brazilian, you fight the Japanese girl, you fight the whatever. My record, I fought the same 20 girls for years. In MMA, pretty much it's a new girl every fight, and you have no idea. You think you know based off of looking at their fights and based off of watching footage and sizing them up at weigh-ins, but you really have no idea. And that's a scary thought for me, like the unknown, not being able to control, like, well, what if I do get hit? What if I do get kicked? What if I do? How am I going to handle that? That was so scary, so intense. So the pressure wasn't there, but the intensity was there just because it was like, oh my God, you got to be absolutely insane to do that. Like who do you think you are? What are you doing?
All right. Well, I'm going to wrap it up with this. My last question is going to be this. How many times have you thrown out Austin Vanderford? Come on.
Oh my
be
gosh.
real.
I don't even know do I have enough fingers and toes for that?
Oh, there it is.
This is great. I love it.
Big trees fall hard. All right.
Okay. Now I'm going to touch it up with one more. How many times has Kyoji taken you down?
Oh my God.
Oh no. Oh, she's giving me the bird. I love it.
I mean, Kyoji is a special human. We'll put it that way.
He's a one of a kind.
Oh man, I really want to ask Kyoji if he's ever been armbarred by a girl.
Oh, there it is. I'm going to ask him that in the fighter meeting. Hey, Chris, I got a question.
No,
do you think a girl could ever armbar you?
Not before the fight.
Don't do it before the fight. That's messed up, John. John trying to break his concentration. Oh, well, hey, Kayla. John, do you have anything else?
No, the only thing I have to say is, hey, Kayla, I just want to tell you thank you very much. You are awesome. You're awesome as a fighter, but as a person, as a mother, I'm so proud of what you're doing. You're making other people's lives special, and that's awesome. And
thank you so much.
You're going to be special wherever you're at. I hope that I get to see you in the Bellator cage because I think that fight would just be incredible. But you're a beautiful person inside and out, and your skill level is fantastic. So thank you for coming on the Weighing In podcast. We hope to have you back sometime.
Yeah,
thank you guys so much. I will tell you were fantastic interviewers. This is probably one of my favorite podcasts I've ever done. Mostly because of John, a little bit because of John.
Baby, that's what happens. Go ahead,
Trail. I feel the knife in my back. Like,
the one who The one who stole my heart was Dave, obviously.
Oh, now I just lost it.
Yeah, you lost it. It's
No,
over. It's over.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. You guys are very influential in the sport of MMA, and I have a very high respect for both of you. So thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Same respect back.
You. I just want to wish you luck being the coach of the girls soccer team.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You hear my voice?
Yeah.
It was absolute chaos.
Good luck with that.
That might be harder than herding cats. Seriously, not joking.
All
Definitely
right,
is.
well, we're going to leave you with that. Until next time, good luck, and hopefully we find out soon where you end up.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Kayla Harrison, showing that, you know what, someone who has been so successful in everything they've done in the martial arts, 2 Olympic gold medals, coming into the PFL, being an amazing fighter there, undefeated. But really, I think where she takes the most pride there, Josh, being a mom, being someone that is there for the other people and stuff. She's someone that's special.
Yeah, the mom takes the boat for sure, but the thing is, she's also very prideful about being the team captain, an American top team. If you look at everyone that's there, that says a lot about her character, not just her character, but her work ethic and everything else that comes along with that. So there was that. She had a lot of great things to say about a lot of Bellator fighters, as well as some of the UFC fighters that are training there, as well as the coaches. Yep. So she is someone that was willing to pat everybody else on the back to let everyone know out of her team and out of her camp how good they are and what they mean to her, not just her, but to the gym and the facility itself. And it says a lot about her. And I think John and I, we both were talking off air before, and we talked a little bit to her about it. We would love to be selfish and have her come to Bellator, because like I said, it would validate how good she is. And we would love to see that fight. A lot of people would. Is it realistic for her to go and fight Amanda Nunes, knowing that they're teammates, knowing that they know each other? It's not realistic. Let's be honest. I mean, she would potentially get there, but the UFC is going to have her fight someone like a Jermaine Durandamy or somebody else in that weight class at 145 before she gets to Amanda. I think they're going to maybe try to test her and try to get, I wouldn't say get her beat, but try to really get her tested before they try to put her in front of Amanda. Now, having her go to Bellator, it would make sense, because she kind of hinted, and I actually asked her the question, do you need that validation? You're not going to get it from Amanda because your teammates, you're not going to probably go there, but going to Bellator, there's some validation there. Fighting Chris Cyborg, that lets you know that she's the 1 or 2 if she beats her. If she doesn't beat her and she has a great fight, she's potentially number 3. Like that validates everything that she's been leading up to in terms of her legacy. And so she had a lot to say in that aspect of talking about her legacy, talking about, where she would like to go and who she would like to fight. And it made sense, as long as she makes the right decision for herself and her family. And like we've always said, go where the money is, because this thing will not be around long. It's a short lifespan. She's already a 2-time Olympian and gold medalist. And now, it's like a medalist in terms of now, like making as much money as you possibly can to carry on for the rest of your life. Well, I wish her nothing but the best.
If you take a look at everything, she has nothing to prove, but she does want to prove things to herself still.
Yeah.
And that's what makes her who she is. So,
well, it's not hard to say. She's a very strong female.
Oh,
she's a very strong female. Yeah. And I don't just mean physically. You can tell mentally.
Yep.
Not just, mentally, physically, all around. She's got a very strong character. And, we wish her nothing but the best. And I think we're going to eventually see her again. I think we may see her in the Bellator cage. Maybe not this year, but maybe sometime soon. I'd like to see that fight happen, and hopefully we will soon.
There you go. All right, let's talk about Triad Combat. We want to talk about the Dorito chip.
All right, go to mybookie.ag. Use that promo code weighing in. There's a lot of sports that are happening right now. There's a lot of things to gamble on, a lot of things to put your money down on. If you use that promo code weighing in, they're going to give you a little extra spending cash with that QR code right there. If you guys click on that QR code, they're going to go ahead and bonus you up a little bit, get that little extra bonus money for you to go ahead and bet on things that are coming up. We got Bellator has some great fights coming up next week. We also have the UFC's got a huge pay-per-view coming up as well. And now outside of fighting, which I know we talk about fighting, you also got a little bit of Triller going on tonight. If you guys want to check that out, there's other events as well. So if you're talking about football, basketball, any of those things that are coming up, you guys can bet on those. Like my Chiefs just beat the Dallas Cowboys. Hoorah. We're going to play the Raiders again. The Raiders just beat the Dallas Cowboys. So now there's going to be a little bit of grudge match going on. I like to bet on my Chiefs. Sometimes.
Hold on. Did you bet against them on the Dallas Cowboys?
No, I didn't bet. I didn't bet. But if you go to mybookie.ag, use that promo code weighing in and that QR code right there for a little extra cash, you'll be able to make a little bit more money, spend a little bit more, and listen to John and I when we talk about fights, because we will give you the in-round bettings as well as just what fights we like and who we think may potentially come out on top. So go to mybookie.ag, use that promo code weighing in.
There was the Triad Combat. I think it should be called the Dorito Championships because of the ring looks like a giant Dorito chip, and they should get Doritos to sponsor that ring. It is made just like a Dorito chip, and if you're me, you know all about Doritos. Thank you very much.
John, all kidding aside, this was hands down the best event that Triller Triad.
Yes.
This is the first Triad one, but this is hands down the best one that they've done. Now, don't get me wrong. I was really into the Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. fight. That one to me was just, it was more nostalgia.
It was Mike Tyson.
It was Mike Tyson and Roy Jones. You know what I mean? Like, that was something I really enjoyed watching. But the rest of their shows have sucked since then. And not one, I can't think of one fight that I went back and saw and I was like, God, I won't see that again. No, not one. This card, though, I've got to tip my hat to them. I've got to say congratulations. They finally found a little niche. It's not quite bare knuckle boxing, and it's not quite MMA, and it's not quite boxing. It's a hybrid of a new thing that they're doing, which is great. It's the MMA boxing, which I like. It's almost a little bit of what One does with their Muay Thai over there. They have them fight in a cage. They have them wear MMA gloves, and they fight Muay Thai. It's all on the feet. I love it. I love that style. There's not as much glove to block and protect your head, so things get through. This has that feel to it a little bit, and it's nice, man. I like it a lot.
It's fantastic. It's as far as when you're looking, if you want action, that the Dorito chip, actually, there's not a lot. You can't get caught in one of those corners. You get caught in one of those corners, you got problems. There's no way of really getting out. It's a bullying your way out. But there were a couple of fights on there. I thought Derek Campos came out and put on a show. I thought Mike Perry put on just a ballsy performance against, a guy that was a more skilled fighter, but he took what he does well. He bullied him around. He pressed the action. He took a lot of shots. He got knocked on his ass with a big shot, got up from it, which I was really impressed from. There was some really good performances by certain guys, on that night. And so overall, if you're looking for what are you looking at for a success, for Triller being the promotion of Triad, it's the best full card, best show you have done so far. So maybe you're learning.
Yeah, I think that there's fights on that card to me, like with Mike Perry. Excuse me, Mike Perry. Mike Perry had a great performance. He looked really good. I mean, he got clipped a little bit here and there.
Oh, not a little bit?
Yeah, he still has a good chin. He's a dog. He came in. He's the type of fighter that people are looking to watch fight in those type of events.
Yeah.
Someone that still has a little bit left in the gas tank, and still has power, still has a good chin, can still bring the action. He's that kind of fighter. Derek Campos, to me, had fight of the night. That fight was hands down the best fight of the night. And not just that, it was one of the most exciting fights I've seen in a long, long time in terms of just boxing, period. And it was fun. They were ripping the body. They were getting after each other. They both took some hard licks. It was 100 miles an hour from beginning to end. When Boss Rutan said they can't keep this pace, they were like
Boss
a minute
Rutan was
in.
wrong.
And Boss Rutan was
I love
really
Boss.
wrong.
He's my man.
It was really wrong because in that last round, they were still gunslinging, man, and I loved it. Derek Campos, I hope you found a new avenue for yourself outside of MMA, because this was awesome. It was great to watch you fight in there, and I'm going to tune in every time you fight in this Dorito chip, whatever it is. But I loved it, man. I really did like. I got to tell you guys, this kind of turned me on a little bit. It kind of turned me on. I got a little bit of a wood looking at this thing going, man, this is going to be kind of weird. But as they started gunslinging, I started realizing these guys got dogs in their hands. They still got a lot of fight left in them. And it was a good night of fights when I sat down and started watching these back to back. Now let's look on the flip side, John. The co-main event and the main event, dog shit. And I love both those guys. They're great people, Frank Mir and Matt Mitrione. But the fights themselves, they should have never been in there fighting. I don't know what it is with the heavyweights, but these guys, they're done. They should stop fighting. Both of them should stop fighting. Okay. The fight itself was horrible, and I like both of them. I like both of them as people, but they're done. They shouldn't be fighting. They shouldn't be doing MMA. They do grappling matches. Well, Frank can. Okay. But Matt can't. But it's like, this is not for them. This style of fighting is not for them. The MMA gloves and boxing stand-up was never Frank's forte ever. And I know he wanted to challenge himself, but this was not a good look. We can get into the Dan Miragliotta stoppage and all that stuff too, but it just not, boxing is not for Frank Mir. Grappling is. I'd like to see him do more grappling if he can. Matt Mitrione, boxing supposedly was like your thing. Like, you're a stand-up guy. Every time you got taken down, you complain about grapplers and wrestlers always just taking you down. But guess what? It's not you didn't have a great performance. You didn't look good. You looked exhausted after round 2. You slowed down everything, and then just kept wrestling and grappling, which is fine. It was in the rules. You could do that, but you had no activity either. No body punching, no gritty, dirty boxing style, Randy Couture style. None of that was there. It was a really bad showing for the co-main event and the main event. It should have been flipped where you had Mike Perry and you had Derek Campos in that co-main, or that right in that little mix there. I understand the name value, but it just wasn't. The show started off with fireworks and ended up with duds.
Yeah, I'll agree with you that the last fights were just not. They weren't good fights. But you knew, and I knew going in, and we talked about, they set Frank Mir up as far as not. I shouldn't say it that way. They didn't set him up. Frank knew exactly what he was going into, and he signed on for it. He was talking a lot about, if I get a win, I'm going to get more money. And it's like, and I love Frank, and I would do anything for Frank. He's been my friend for a long time, and man, he's not fighting a bum, and he's not fighting a guy that's past his prime. He's fighting a guy that just fought for the heavyweight championship of the world in boxing, against Anthony Joshua just a couple of fights ago. All right. I mean, this is a real dude. And when you're talking about, is there a difference in the rule set? Yeah, but it's still boxing, and you can't have a guy that's that good at boxing in his prime coming and stepping in against a guy in the MMA that was never a stand-up guy. Yeah. That was his forte in MMA. Frank was known as a grappler, and he got by with his stand-up, and it got better as his career went on, but it was still never that, devastating of a stand-up. And so you looked and you said, well, we got exactly what we expected. In my opinion, Triller, they paid for a train wreck, and they got the train wreck, and luckily it got stopped without Frank getting hit again. We can talk about that whole thing, but it was part of that was when, Puliev is being just a sportsman, and he hits him. When he hit him with the right hand, you saw Frank, he was out on his feet. And when a fighter is bouncing off of the referee to gain their balance and then stumbling back again, the fight's over. Now, I understand with Dan is looking at it and going, well, Puliev is not attacking. That does make it tougher on you as the official. Sometimes you just got to make the call. Yeah. You go, you can't fight no matter what. This fight is over. And it was what we expected. It really was as far as that. With Matt Mitrione, brother, if you're going to go out there and do that, you got to get yourself in a position where you can go those rounds, all of them hard. And it didn't seem like you were able to do that, against a guy that, physically, I think he matched up with him. Physically matched up with him. Is just, cardio wise, when you get tired, you just, the output's gone.
Yep. Back to the Dan Miragliotta thing. I thought since Puliev pulled away, pulled away. That like you said, it made it more difficult because Dan's like, look, if you're gonna give him time to recover, I'm gonna give him time to recover.
Exactly.
As soon as he stepped forward is when Dan jumped in. So I know a lot of people were giving him like flack. What are you waiting for? Well, he's waiting for his opponent to step forward to actually come in
and look like he's going to try to finish him, but he didn't because he was kind of stepping away from him. So it's in one of those. I think Dan knew it was over, but since Puliev is backing away, he's like, well, I'm not going to just stop it. I'm going to give him a chance to recover. It's a way of thinking of doing it and stuff, but it was also more of Ray Flores, the play-by-play, saying something. What are you doing? And getting his panties got all in a ruffle and got bunched up, and so it hurt him.
Maybe they're nice panties. Who knows?
Maybe they are. It's okay.
All right, Dave, let's get into something else. What else you got?
All right, so upcoming this week, we have on December 3rd, Bellator is back with Bellator 272, and it's Sergio Pettis versus Horiguchi.
All right, guys. So look, we talked several times about some cards that we said, look, I'm going to be very honest with you. This card to me is going to be one of the best cards of the year, which it should be. It's the year-end, card for Bellator. It should be a stack card. It's all the fighters that are under contract that need to get those fights in that we weren't able to have them fight as much as we wanted them to during the year. And that's why the year-end cards are usually stacked, not just for Bellator, but for the UFC. There's fighters that have obligations to meet a certain amount of fight requirements, and then those fights sometimes don't happen. So the UFC and Bellator and other organizations try to cram them all in to get all the best fights by the end of the year. Not to mention they want to leave the year with a bang, because most promotions won't have another fight for a couple weeks. They don't want to leave you high and dry off of a shitty show. I've said this before. This card, I think, will be one of the best fights of the year, one of the best cards of the year. There was, when we first came back in April after that long layoff, those first 3 cards were stacked. Now, the first card was outstanding. The second card wasn't good. And the third card ended up being pretty damn good as well. So when John and I talk to you guys, I know people think that we're being biased because we work for Bellator, but I want you guys to understand this is a pretty damn good card. So when I'm looking at guys like Sergio Pettis, who's the current champ, he's really only the champ because Horiguchi relinquished the title because of the injury that he knew was going to take longer than a year to get back from. And so he ended up losing, or not losing, but he forfeited the title. Juan Archuleta won the title, and Sergio Pettis and him fought for the title, and Sergio beat him in a decision. Great fight, back and forth. Sergio gets the win. Horiguchi is someone who he was not beaten for that title, for that Bellator title, and he beat Darren Caldwell for that title. So this fight, to me, stylistically, John, I think makes for a great matchup because you have a wrestler / super fast with the hands. He's got power. He's probably one of the most underrated fighters in the whole sport of MMA, as a lot of people are talking about right now.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. But and it's funny that you say the same thing as everyone else. Wrestler / this guy comes from a karate background.
Yeah.
That's where Horiguchi comes from. He came from a stand-up background. He has learned how to be a phenomenal MMA wrestler and a very good fighter on the ground with his submissions. But his background is in the stand-up, and you're taking a look at Sergio Pettis. He's the same thing. Sergio Pettis has finally, in my opinion, stepped out of the shadow of his big brother, Anthony Pettis, which, look, he cast a very large shadow for a long time, and it's understandable why. Sergio was always, the little brother, and he's still the little brother, but he's the guy with the bigger, momentum and the guy with the better career at this moment. He's the real deal, and he does everything the right way. He trains his ass off. He's always in the gym. He doesn't do stupid things, and he prepares for his opponents. He comes in with a game plan. He comes in with a plan B, and he doesn't make any excuses. The one thing I loved about this is he goes, yeah, I've got the belt. I'm babysitting it because until I beat Horiguchi, it's the way I look at it. He was the real champ. He had to walk away from it, and he's getting his shot. We'll see if Pettis can take him out. Horiguchi is a guy, you got to love a guy that dropped 2 titles. He lost the Rizin title. He drops the Bellator. And he says, I'm going to come back and win both of them. He's already won the Rizin title now. He's the Rizin Bantamweight champion, and now he's coming after Pettis. And we'll see if he can get the second part of it done. But if you're looking at a guy who is as good as anybody in the Bantamweight division right now, Kyoji Horiguchi is just phenomenal in his fight IQ is great. The way he goes about getting himself prepared, he is just a trouble in every area of the MMA game. And so this is a great matchup. This is what you look for in a championship fight. And we've talked about the 135s. This is the very best division in the sport of MMA right now with 2 of the very best guys going at it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun because Horiguchi brings the speed that Pettis normally brings, sometimes being the smaller fighter. But when he came over to Bellator, he's like, look, I came up to Bellator because 135 is fine for me. He was killing himself to get to 25. He's like, there's no reason for me to do that anymore. He's like, my performances weren't feeling good there. Came to 35 at Bellator. He's been doing really well. Obviously, he's the champion, but I think the speed will be a factor. I want to see how much of a factor it's going to be in those first couple exchanges, because Horiguchi is extremely fast, not just with the wrestling, but with the speed of his kicks, as well as putting his hands together. If you go back and watch the fight where he knocked out Tokoro, man, it was quick. He threw the little up kick, snap kick to the face that didn't land. Then he brought the foot down, jumped right into the right hand and finished him off. Dropped him with the right hand, jumped on him before anything can be done. Fight was done and over. Same thing with Asakara when he did that. Same type of thing. He softened him up with the leg kicks. Like you said, he's a stand-up guy. He's got power. But people just look at him as being like a jiu-jitsu guy or a good wrestler, because he's shorter in stature. He's someone that's aggressive. He comes in. He mixes it up very well. Mike Brown has said he is probably the hardest worker, as well as one of the most well-rounded fighters in all of American Top Team.
He's loved at American Top Team.
Yeah.
Everybody there talks about, dude, he's such a good guy to be around. He's so fun. He makes training fun, and he's there for everyone. This is, when you're taking a look, people remember Horiguchi when he lost to Demetrius Johnson. And how long ago was that? You're talking about close to 5 years now, 4 or 5 years with that. Horiguchi is so much better now than he was then. And it's just because he's just better everywhere. His stand-up is cleaner. His grappling is way better. He's a handful. But I think with Pettis, Pettis has done the same thing. Pettis is now a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Gets a lot of his training done with Lovato Jr. That's a good thing for him. And I think this is it's an even fight going in. Mm-hmm. Either guy can win. We're going to see who's the guy that, just does a little bit more. But this is a fantastic matchup.
Emmanuel Sanchez coming off his loss to Mads Burnell, but then fighting Jeremy Kennedy, who is, he's good on the feet, but his last fight we saw, he was just wrestling after wrestling after wrestling, takedown after takedown, good ground and pound, good top control. I think Eric Sitnick was talking about like the body lock. They call it the lasso. He just kept lifting him and taking him down, lifting him and taking him down. Can he do that to Emmanuel Sanchez? Because Emmanuel Sanchez is someone who has a very active guard, training also at Duke Rufus's place. And so just that active guard that's like almost like the old school Anthony Pettis, the good from the armbar triangle position, very good at the sweep, very good at getting his back to the fence and getting back up. And Emmanuel Sanchez is somebody who will push that pace. Yeah. He will push it to the point where you break, but can he do it in a 3-round fight? Because he normally fights. He's been fighting 5-round fights because he was in the tournament at 145. He's been fighting 5-round fights, and that catered to him because of his condition and his cardio. This is a 3-round fight. He's got to get after Jeremy Kennedy really fast and be able to stuff takedowns. Otherwise, he's going to end up losing a 3-round fight like he did to Mads Burnell.
I think it's exactly what the thing you have to look for is what made Emmanuel Sanchez successful. It was the fact that he, like you said, just the pace and the output that he would come with, the volume of shots that he would put on guys. That's what made Emmanuel Sanchez. And then when I watched him, you can't say anything about the Patricio Pitbull. He got caught. He got hit with a shot and then got choked with the guillotine. That happens. But his fight with Mads Burnell, I saw a different fighter. I saw a guy that was trying to go for the knockout. He was trying to land the big shot. That is not what Emmanuel Sanchez needs to do. The knockout will come when you hit a guy enough times that he starts to overextend to try to get past it, and then you'll catch him with the shot. That's what he needs to do with Jeremy Kennedy. If Emmanuel Sanchez stuffs the first 2 shots that Jeremy Kennedy brings, he's going to start to get on a roll, and I think you're going to see that volume start to go. If he doesn't, and Jeremy Kennedy gets those takedowns, Emmanuel Sanchez better be busting ass in trying to get himself back to his feet, because if he just accepts a position, Jeremy Kennedy is going to just wear on him all night long.
Yeah, I don't think he's never been one to settle in, accept the position from the bottom. But he's got to make sure that he doesn't just get comfortable down there thinking there's more time in terms of not settling in the position, but he's got to be active on sweep, submit, get up, submit, sweep, get up. He's got to make sure he's kicking him back and getting back to his feet. He can't just keep trying to attack submission after submission like we've seen like guys like Brent Primus do, and just watch the clock tick away as you're trying to hit submissions that are not working and being less effective, especially after you get sweaty. Johnny Eblin versus Colin Huckbody. Look, Johnny Eblen's the real deal. Undefeated, trains out of ATT, trains with Dalton Rasta, undefeated. Austin Vanderford, undefeated. Yaroslav Amosov got the best record in all of MMA at 27-0, undefeated. And Johnny Eblen's undefeated as well. All 4 of them train together, all 4 of them in Bellator, all 4 of them undefeated. All 4 of them are stud wrestlers, and all 4 of them are just nasty good when it comes to being a well-rounded fighter. Johnny Eblen's wrestling is probably some of the best in the division across the sport of MMA, not just in Bellator, but now he's starting to realize that he's got power in his hands, but he's utilizing his wrestling to throw his shots behind it, which is beautiful. So he throws his punches, he throws his wrestling, and then he throws his shots, or he throws his shots to set up his wrestling. That's what you should be doing as a young fighter. He hasn't got away from his wrestling. He's really focused on his striking just to improve his wrestling, to make his takedowns easier to get. Because if people fear your hands, the takedowns come easier. And that's what he's done.
Oh, absolutely. And he's on his 3rd nickname because
it's got to stop. You got to stop, buddy.
Now he's Diamond Hands. I go, what the hell's that? He goes, well, I want people to think that I'm just throwing my hands because it helps my wrestling. It's like, okay, whatever you're going to do. But look, he is in against a guy that is a very tough and good fighter. And the one thing I'm going to say about Huck Buddy, look, this guy is an arm triangle master. This guy knows how to set up the arm triangle. He knows how to get you to move the way he wants. And all of a sudden, he has set it 5 wins out of 5 of his 10 wins are by arm triangle, Josh. The guy is one of those a la Ronda Rousey with the arm bar. This guy is special with that arm triangle. So if you make a mistake on the ground, he's going to set that up and he's going to go for it. And he knows how to lock it in. And there's just differences in pressure. The guys that squeeze that they can get, he's got that squeeze. So Johnny, his wrestling and his stand-up, I think he's the favorite in this fight, but he does need to be careful because I'm telling you right now, Huck Buddy, he's the real deal. He can fight.
Yeah, the guy that I think of every time I think of arm triangle, to me, is one of the guys that I took mine away from when I started utilizing it more in the sport was Shaolin Ribeiro.
Oh,
he was hands down to me. He could hit that shit from anywhere. He hit it from half guard. He hit it from inside the guard. He hit it from underneath. He hit it from the standing position. He'd hit that shit anywhere, and he was damn good at it. So when I started looking at the way he was attacking it against other people, I started trying to put that in my mind. Huck Buddy has a very similar style of trying to hit that arm triangle as well. To me, Alexander Shabley is probably another one of those most underrated fighters out there right now in the sport. Not talked about enough. Good boxer. He's got good stand-up. He's got good wrestling takedown defense. He's nasty on top. He's got great ground and pound. I've had a chance to roll with him, train with him, spar with him, do all of those things when he came over to visit American Kickboxing Academy. He's at ATT right now. He's at ATT right now, but at AKA. So American something, you know? But he's good. He's humble. He's got great strength. He's got great power. He's got a great athletic ability in terms of all of the skill that he possesses. I think you're gonna see him start to catapult into that top 5, top 6 with 1 or 2 wins. And they'll be talking about him fight for the title here pretty shortly, I believe. That's how damn good this kid is.
No, he's real good. But the guy that I'm actually excited to see, and I kind of tried to help bring him over, and the people are going to say what they want. Oh, he's a UFC reader. Kai Kamaka III.
Yeah.
You know him well. I know him well. I think he's an exciting fighter. You take a look at what happened with him in the UFC. I thought he got ripped off in one of his fights, and he got a bad split decision loss, and then he got a draw when he lost a point during the fight. You look and you go, hey, mistake. But I'm glad that Bellator has him because he brings it. He's exciting. He's fun to watch, and he's going to go against another guy who's what I call a high flyer, a guy that does a lot of the flying knees and things like that in John De Jesus, a guy that you've had a lot of good things to say about. You know, he's got the one loss against Aaron Pico that was just a devastating right hand that folded him back like a scorpion. Mm-hmm. But that's going to be a fun fight also.
Can you click on John De Jesus there for me, Dave? He's super explosive, but I'm trying to remember the Russian guy's last name that he fought.
Oh,
he just fought
Parabchenko.
That fight was nasty. That fight was so nasty. He had a flying knee in there that, I basically decapitated him. And I was like, man, this kid's going to be good. And I thought for sure he was going to be a hard time and a big problem for Aaron Pico because of the way he exploded on his flying knees. And we've seen in the past when Boric fought Aaron Pico. I know he's a different Aaron Pico now, but we saw wrestlers have a tendency to dip their head on the takedowns, a la Ben Askren. When they feel like someone leaves the air, let me grab their legs. Well, I thought he was going to be a problem. It wasn't a problem at all. Aaron Pico solved that problem real quick with that fight. But this kid's explosive. He's good. He's super quick. He's long-range punching, good kicking. He does a lot of things off cue in terms of there's no real rhythm or rhyme or reason on why he does it. He just looks like he loves to fight. And I'm excited to see him fight against Kamaka because Kamaka's got to make sure he stays inside that range and smothers him and puts him to the ground, dominates the top position. If he can do that, but he's going to be hard to get down. John DeJesus is going to be extremely hard because of his movement. His lateral movement and all the things he does, he's really good at getting back to his feet and stuffing the takedowns as well. This makes for a fun fight, a good entry fight for Kai Kamaka and a good fight for John DeJesus, to get the ball rolling forward again, back towards a title shot.
Yeah. Well, the last fight he had was a win against John Teixeira. And it was a really good performance, so just needs to stay on that same path.
Yeah, he's got to keep that ball rolling.
Yeah.
As far as anyone else on this fight here, look, Mike Hamill's always fun to watch. Achilles Mota is also a really good, fun fighter to watch as well. The two of them are pairing up against each other. That's going to be a fun fight. If you guys want to watch a fun fight, that's going to be a good fight. Dan Moret is coming off that win off of...
he's a dog.
Yeah, he's a dog. He reminds me a lot of the kid from the PFL, the one that beat Anthony Pettis. I just brought him up.
Clay Collard.
Clay Collard. He reminds me a little bit of him. Just kind of comes forward, throws big shots, gets takedowns, that type of stuff. Spike Carlisle, he's good as well. He's a dog as well. That should be a fun fight. But of course, my boy Kyle Crutchmer doing his thing. He's got his hands full.
Oh, does he?
He's got his hands full. But that wrestling is going to be key because I believe I've called a lot of Oliver Enkamp's fights. He's still got a little bit of that baby fat, but I've seen some recent pictures of him.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. He's leaned out. He's put on a little bit of muscle. I'm interested to see how well he does against someone who can wrestle with the pedigree of Kyle Crutchmer because he's active from the bottom with his jiu-jitsu, and he's good when he gets on top. And that long-range striking, he throws wild and crazy stuff, and he doesn't fight at a pace. That's the thing. He's someone that just keeps going, and he picks up his pace and goes. It just doesn't stop. He keeps it going. Kyle's going to have to slow that down. Because one thing we've seen with Kyle, the more he has to wrestle, the more he slows down as the fight goes on. Because it's exhausting to wrestle. Even if you're a good wrestler, it's a lot of energy to expend at getting takedown after takedown after takedown. So he's going to have to control that top position if he's going to get that win.
I know that Oliver has been out in Las Vegas. He's been in a syndicate with John Wood and been doing a lot of wrestling, been doing a lot of submission training. Mm-hmm. And look, he's got a great submission game. He is nasty on the ground. He pulls off. There's something about the guys from the European countries of Sweden and Denmark and stuff that love the Japanese necktie because he's another guy that has gotten that. So Crutchmer's got to figure out what he's going to do. If he's going to be in that top position on the ground, which I believe he needs to be, that's where he needs to put the fight, but he needs to be busy. He cannot just be holding on. If he's just holding on, things are not going to work out well for him. Enkamp's the real deal. Enkamp at this point is really starting to hit that flow, man. He's feeling it. He feels good in the cage. He's having fun. And so this is a tough fight for Kyle Crutchmer.
That's true. All right, Dave, let's get into the UFC fight card.
All right, UFC, here we go.
Boom. Let's talk about from the beginning, man. Rob Font against Jose Aldo. This is the one that's going to make or break Rob Font right here. This is what he's been fighting for. This is what he has been doing all of this great work for, is to get this type of fight to show exactly, hey, all these guys that don't think I'm the real deal, I'm going to prove to you I am. And it's for Aldo to say, not yet, son.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to go towards the old dog. I'm going to go with Jose Aldo. Right from the beginning, I'm going to say Jose Aldo, but on one condition. If Jose Aldo starts off kicking early, if he starts kicking that lead leg, he starts kicking that calf, I think it's going to change the dynamic of this fight. Rob Font's a good kickboxer. Don't get me wrong. I understand this. But the power that Jose Aldo possesses in his kicks, I have not seen another guy. Give me another guy that kicks with that type of power in that weight class, or even in the 55-pound weight class. Give me somebody that kicks with that kind of power.
Fiziev.
Yeah,
Rafael Fiziev.
Yeah.
But he's 55 too.
Yeah, he is. But I also haven't seen the effects from his kicks that I've seen from Jose Aldo when he starts getting off on the kicking. We've seen.
Yeah, but you also haven't seen Fiziev in a 5-round fight.
Didn't we see when he fought Bobby Green 3? But still,
Right.
I didn't see a whole lot there either. Like Bobby Green's got the wide stance, and
Bobby Green
more leg kicks.
Bobby Green is tough to fight, man.
I understand he is. I fought him. I know he's tough. He's a dog. I get it. I understand him. But I think Rob Font is phenomenal on the feet. But I'm going to go towards the old dog. If the old dog gets off early and starts kicking, hiding his kicks behind his hands, I think Rob Font's going to have a hard time. Because look, at this level right now, he needs to kick. That trial and error of just boxing is done. He needs to stop. He needs to stop just doing the boxing. I know he's got good hands. We've all seen it for over a generation now. We've seen it for over 10 years. We've seen him with good hands, but everything was because of his kicks. His hands were more effective because of his kicks. His kicks, if you look at the Uriah Faber fight back in the day, the Chad Mendes fights, also the Frankie Edgar fights, all of those fights, because of the kicks were so effective, it changed the dynamic of how the fights were fought. If he gets off early against Rob Font will not be the same kickboxer that he's used to being if his legs are getting attacked. And I think if Jose Aldo does that, I think he ends up winning this fight.
Here's my problem: is I love Jose Aldo, and he is just a phenomenal fighter.
But
the longer the fight goes, he's tending to slow down a little bit, and it's a 5-round fight. And Font brings the pressure, and Font doesn't get tired. If there's one thing I really, love when I watch him, he just keeps coming after guys and keeps that pressure up. And if he can maintain putting that pace on Aldo, I think Aldo's going to start to tail off. And my real problem is I agree with you 100%. If I knew that he was going to start landing that leg kick and start going after his legs early and sticking with it, I would say, yeah, I think this is a fight that Aldo can win. I don't think he's going to do that because he's shown me too many times that he is either not starting off with it and then going to it in his 3rd round, or he starts off with it and then abandons it.
Yeah.
And I can't have him do that. He's got to maintain that. He's got to keep that as something that is effective in the fight throughout the fight. And he tends to go back to, he's starting to just box at times.
Yeah.
And if he starts to just box, because even if he went for takedowns here, look for the takedown, get to the top position. He can do very well there against Font, I believe. But he tends to get into that boxing realm, and when he does, that's where Rob Font, I think, can take advantage of things. So it's a great fight. I look forward to watching it, but I'm probably going to lean towards Rob Font.
See, Rob Font puts the pressure, like you said, but if you look back at what Yair Rodriguez did to Max Holloway puts the pressure as well. Those calf kicks and those leg kicks changed how Max put the pressure throughout the rest of that fight. Now, I know Max still came out and got the win, but that changed the dynamic of that fight. That fight ended up being a lot closer because of those leg kicks. And if Jose can get after that leg early, like you just agreed to, if he gets after that leg early, it will change the amount of pressure that Rob Font puts on him. So the pace of that fight will slow down if he gets it done early on the leg kicks. So pay attention to that, you guys. The next fight, is it Riddle or Riddle?
Riddle.
It's Riddle. Okay, I want to make sure. I've heard someone told me it's Rydell or whatever. I'm like, okay, I thought it was Riddle, but
I've heard it said they announced him Brad Riddle.
Yeah, okay.
My best friends get the same spelling, so I know it's Riddle.
It's Riddle? Okay. So Brad Riddle, I didn't know you had friends. I know we're just acquaintances. We know that, but I know
there's the guy I was talking about. Rafael Fiziev.
And Fiziev. Okay, so look, Riddle's one of those dogs, man.
He's a good stand-up fighter, too.
Yeah. But this is where we're going to find out. Fiziev looks the part. He fights the part. But are his kicks as hard and as powerful as we're making them out to be, John? I know he's got the Muay Thai, Tiger Muay Thai, like he was one of the coaches there.
Yep.
He is one of the coaches there or something along those lines. But is the power behind them enough, like a Jose Aldo's, where his leg kicks you see after 2 or 3, they have an effect. They're changing the dynamic of how that fighter fights. I didn't see that against Bobby Green. I haven't seen that just yet with him. I'm not discrediting his stand-up at all. And no way am I doing that. I'm just simply saying that will his kicks have the same power? Now, he's got nice little sneaky ass elbows. His boxing and his kicks are hidden well behind each other beautifully. All of that, the style of it all looks fucking phenomenal. But you know as well as I know, some people have the crack and some people don't. You can look the part, doesn't mean that you are the part. And that's the thing. So I agree that he is talented. And I loved watching him fight. I love the way he throws his combinations. But will they have the same effect? And will Brad Riddle be able to walk through it all and touch him up and piece him up a little bit, put so much pressure where he's not able to get off those combinations?
It's exactly what you're saying. I mean, you can go back and you look at the fight, the last fight that Brad had against Dober. Oh my God. Well, I mean, just a war. And that's what I love about watching this fight. You know, both guys that go to war, because that fight that Fiziev had with Bobby Green, that last round, look, after putting it on Bobby for 2 rounds, he was starting to take some shots and some heavier shots. And he was still, he's biting down and he was going after it. So I don't care who wins this. I like both guys. I just think that this is going to be, I think this is fight of the night. I think this is one that's going to be just outstanding.
I would probably agree with you. But the thing is, though, with Clay Guida on the card, he just always seems to find a way to make sure his fights are super exciting. So I'm not going to really count him out on the whole fight of the night situation, because no matter what, win or lose, he comes out and is always trying to get the win. The only time he didn't do that was against Gray Maynard, where he ran the whole damn time, and it fucking pissed me off.
Yeah, that was ugly as hell.
Because I was cornering Gray in that fight. So I was like, Gray was having a fucking panic attack in the corner. I was like, calm down, you're winning, calm down. He's like, he won't fucking fight me. Oh man, he was so pissed. Anyways, Clay Guida and Leonardo Santos. Clay is just a dog. He's gonna keep coming forward. But how much longer do you think he's gonna do this, John?
Clay's going to do it forever.
Till the wheels fall off?
Just till the wheels fall off.
Jesus, man.
He likes it. He loves it. And he's still he's still getting his wins. His last fight was a win. And so you take a look and you go, I mean, could he pull it? He could pull the pin at any time, and people would be very respectful of the career that he's had. But I think that, he's in that position. He doesn't accept near as much punishment as people think. He's pretty elusive. He doesn't, he bobs his head a lot. You see the hair flopping all around, but he's just a junkyard dog. I've always, he's the carpenter, and he just goes to work.
Yeah.
And, he brings his tools, and what his tools may not be the best tools, but he's going to get the job done with them. And that's what I love about Clay, and God bless him as a fighter. And if this is his last fight, fantastic. If it's not, that's okay. He's just a good guy, as good a guy as you'll find in the sport. Just a class act.
I want everyone to understand this, okay? And I'm going to hit up Clay now. I think now that I've thought about this, Clay, you owe me some of your percentage, man, of all your fight purses, man. I made your career, buddy. I made your career. You're the reason why you got it. I'm the reason why you got in the UFC. I got a lot of love for you, brother. So keep doing what you're doing. Tip my hat to you. You're continuing to fight. Keep putting on great fights. And but I want my 2%. That's not a lot. 2%.
Take one.
No. Yeah, I can renegotiate 1.5. I say 2% for the first year. We'll go to 1.5 after that. Now we'll talk. No, hey, brother. Good luck, man. What other fights on this card really get you going?
Oh, well, they had Brian Barberina on it, but then they had I don't know if he's going to end up with a fight or not. So it's one of those you look and you go, I love Brian Barberina. He's just a dog. His fight against Vicente Luque was one of the best fights. If you want to get somebody hooked on MMA, watch the Vicente Luque versus Brian Barberina fight. Just amazing how tough that dude is. I mean, he always comes out, horrible haircut, big old beard, and man, he comes to fight. I will watch that guy anytime. He's one of those guys when you sit there and you talk about, fighters that nobody knows. But every time he steps in there, he puts on a show. He puts on a performance, win or lose. And I will always watch that man fight. That's a guy that's fun to fight. The other one I think is actually going to be a good fight is Brendan Allen's taking off Chris Curtis. Chris Curtis coming back really fast. But Brendan Allen is really looking good right now. He went to Sanford MMA. He seems to have found a home there. He's hit a groove, and we'll see if Chris Curtis can make it 2 in a row. You know, he had a big win in his last one. This would be even bigger.
Yeah, huge win, huge win. Look, I look at a couple fights on here with Beneil Cape, however you want to say it, because I heard some of the commentators say Cop, but I mean Cape, whatever. Anyways, Beneil Cape. Look, he's coming off of his win, right? Can you click on him? He had the win, but he had the loss, I think, right before that, where he just wasn't pulling the trigger. I think in his last fight, he pulled the trigger. He got it done.
Yep, he did.
Yeah. So, but then, he had the 2 decision, like the very first decision loss against Pantoja. He should have won that fight. He could have won that fight. He just didn't pull the trigger. And then in his decision split, same very similar situation where he just stuck and moved and thought he was winning, but he wasn't, and then lost that fight. The flying knee and the punches, that's the type of fight he needs to fight. He needs to be explosive, use his tools, use his weapons. Look, you lose again, they're going to start thinking, okay, look, let's just push this thing aside. Let's just have you fight. You'll be on the prelims. You'll be exciting here and there every once in a while. They're going to start looking at you that way. You don't want to do that. Okay. So you want to be the fighter that goes out there and uses your athleticism, your wrestling, your stand up, all of those things and those tools that you have, all the great attributes that you're blessed with. He's got to use them. And he's got to make sure that everyone understands how damn dangerous he can be. And don't just stay on the outside and fight cautiously, because that's not you. That you can't fight that way. You are too damn good to be fighting that way. And so if he fights an explosive fight, I think he gets the fight done. He's one of those guys that I think if I'm the UFC promotion, I'm looking at you going like, look, we brought you in to be dynamic, to be explosive. And if you're not going to be that, I'm not saying we're going to get rid of you, but we're also not just going to, we're not going to try to build you. So he's got to get this. He's got to get a good win on this, potentially a finish. If he gets a decision, that's fine, but he's got to make sure that he owns the decision. He's got to dominate from top to beginning, top to the end, top to bottom. There you go.
One of those things.
Jeez.
One of those things. Back to the card. I also look at another person on there that I know.
Alonzo Menifield versus William Knight. You want to talk about War of the Gargantuas. You want to talk about the Incredible Hulk taking on Iron Man. This is the fight. These two guys are built like brick shit houses, and they're both tough as hell. They both come to bang. This is going to be a fun fight to watch. These guys are just both powerful, strong. Whoever decided to put this matchup, my hat's off to you. This is a fun one.
Dave, pull up the card again, please. I'm just trying to wonder if you're paying attention to the talking conversation at all, because you're way behind. Somebody else that I know and who I think is very talented but just hasn't been able to get it done is Mallory Martin. So she's come down. She used to train at AKA. She was here for a little bit, but she's fighting Cheyenne. Is it Buys or Bays?
Cheyenne Buys.
Cheyenne Buys. Okay, so because I thought I heard it said another way as well. I don't want to butcher
Probably
those
have
names. So, but Mallory needs to get it done. I think she's coming off of a loss. She had a close win, or maybe she's coming off 2 losses. She had a win and then 2 losses. Click on Mallory for me, Dave. Try to follow along, okay, please.
I'm right here.
Jeez, I mean, I can only mention someone's name 7 times before you finally say, "Hey, you want to click on it?" So look, so she's coming off of a loss, but she had a win in the middle there. But she really needs to make sure she keeps the ball rolling, or get the ball back on track, I should say, to get it moving back towards more wins. Got a lot of love for her. She's a good wrestler. She's talented. She's got, I think, some of the big moments, though, she's missed. Like, she gets in there in the big moment and just, I think the lights kind of have a little bit of an effect on her. I think she's got the talent to go ahead and get to the next level. She just got to not let the lights and all that stuff get around her. I think she can do it. Pull up that card again for me, Dave. There we go, Dave. Look at that. Is there anybody else on here?
I think the other fight that's going to be actually fun to watch, and it starts, I think it's the second fight of the night, Alex Morano against Mickey Gall. Mickey Gall, first off, Alex Morano, second fight of the night. This is a guy that's taking on Cowboy Cerrone, got to win. This is the guy he's a gamer, man. He doesn't look like a whole lot, but he can fight, and he's got a great ground game. And going against Mickey Gall, it's going to be interesting because somewhere along the way, that fight's going to end up on the ground. One of them may be hurt or not, but I think this is another fun matchup with Morano against Gall, and we'll see who's the guy that's going to come out on top. Mickey Gall has been looking really good. I thought he's settled down. I really always looked and said, man, this guy's had a very tough road. The only easy fight he ever had was against frickin' Phil. CM Punk, excuse me. But that was his only easy fight. Let's be honest. Well, I think the first one he had was against Mike Jackson. Okay, not that bad a fight. That was his first fight in the UFC, and then he had Phil Brooks.
Sage Northcutt was an easy fight.
No, at least Sage has some athletic ability and stuff comparatively.
John being a homer right now.
I'll tell you. But no, I think this is a really, in looking at what he's doing, he's coming along. Take a look. His last fight was a win. I see Mike Perry up there, but I know his last one was not a loss.
Jordan Williams.
There you go, Jordan Williams. And that was a good win against Jordan, and we'll see where he's at.
Got it. All right, well, that wraps up our UFC talk and our Bellator talk as well. We talked about the Triad and the recap on that, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Dave, do we have some time for one bit of news?
Yep, let's hop in and talk about, and we can, get in a bit of a deeper conversation about a fight that was announced over the weekend. Big fight, and I'll let you guys take it away.
All right, well, they officially announced Islam Makhachev versus Beneil Dariush. Khabib has some comments. He said they deserve a fight for the title. Dariush and Islam, these two guys are better than Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje. It's just my opinion. Well, Khabib, you're right. It is just your opinion, but you are kind of on track. He is kind of. Maybe they are better right now at this moment. I can't say they're better than Dustin Poirier. Stop.
There you go.
Let me give it there. I can't say they're better than Dustin Poirier. The reason why I say this, though, is Khabib, he trains with Islam. He's fought Dustin, and I think he understands it. And without being a homer, I think he understands that the tools that Islam brings that will nullify whatever Dustin does. Whatever issues that Khabib had with Dustin during that moment with those fights, I think he understands that Islam is better than him in all those areas. Now, I can understand. Now, as far as Justin Gaethje, he's fought him as well, Khabib has. And I think we already have seen the wrestling itself will not be a factor. Islam is the better wrestler. And I got a lot of flack over the fact that I said this Dagestani, Russian style, Sambo style wrestling is not like American wrestling. People criticize me, and then just like I think even Luke Thomas talked about it with Brendan Schaub on one of the shows that they did together. And it's basically I was vindicated by saying, look what happened, and in that type of wrestling, Khabib's wrestling was more dominant. Islam's wrestling is just as good. It's a different style of wrestling that is going to throw Justin Gaethje off if they were to fight. Now, I can't speak a whole lot on Beneil Dariush. What? You got something to say on that?
Yeah, well, I do. I'm going to say, here's your difference. I'm not saying that Islam is not very good with his wrestling. He is. I'm not saying that he's maybe not just as good as Khabib in that area. What I am going to say is, and you can say whatever you want, I can prove it in fights in watching them. There's a difference in their mentalities, and that's where Khabib has it way over Islam. Khabib walked through Justin Gaethje, walked through him. He did something that no other fighter has ever done to Justin. He put Justin on his back foot and then his other back foot. And he had Justin exhausted from moving backwards, trying to throw shots, and had a guy that was just walking through his shots. No one had done it. Can Islam do that? I don't know. I don't know that he can. And that's the difference.
Here.
Go ahead.
I get what you're saying. Islam, though, is someone that can shoot from 5 feet away, snatch a single, and suck him up because he's so much stronger than Khabib. And I'm splitting hairs here. Like, what I mean by so much stronger, when you're talking the top 1% of fighters, okay, which is Islam and Khabib and Justin, when you're talking about Khabib and him, when I say so much stronger, it's like 2%. Maybe he's 2% stronger. That 2%, huge. Though, is huge when you're talking the 1% of the top fighters. He will grab the single, he will suck it up, and when he gets to that position, he's going for a ride. And we saw how easy it was for Khabib to get the takedown. And when he got the one takedown, it became easier and easier. And that's what I think that's what's gonna happen, I think, again to Justin Gaethje if he was to fight Islam. I can't speak on Beneil Dariush at all because Beneil is someone who is so well-rounded. So is Islam. But Islam knows what his bread and butter is. I can't tell you what Beneil Dariush is, what his bread and butter is, because he's so damn good everywhere. He's got good stand-up, but it's wild and crazy and leaves himself open. He's got good jiu-jitsu, but he sometimes will make mistakes and put himself on bottom. He's good off of his back and he's good at getting up. But will he be able to do that against someone like Islam? The other thing is Khabib, Islam, Dariush, all of these guys, at some point in time, I believe, I don't know this for 100%, but I believe that they have all kind of trained. When they do the Dominance MMA events, when they do like these big press conferences and all this stuff, you mean to tell me that none of these guys have trained together? There's a little bit of that they know. A little bit of that they know. You know, and so I think in these terms, like I think Dariush has a better chance than most at beating Islam because he is so wild and crazy. He throws shots from different angles. He's awkward. That's going to be a tough task for him. Someone like a Dustin Poirier, however you want to say his name. People keep giving me a hard time the way I say it. Someone like a Dustin Poirier and somebody like a Justin Gaethje that are very straightforward fighters. Okay, they come forward, straight combinations, kicks. Sure, they threaten the submissions. They're a lot easier to figure out than someone like a Dariush. Okay, like a Tony Ferguson was so hard to deal with because everything came from weird angles. Things were jumping elbows, jumping punches, roll away, double leg takedown defenses, shit like that. Those are people that are hard to deal with. Dariush doesn't have quite that kind of craziness that Tony does, but he throws things from different angles. He'll roll for submissions. He'll do those things that will pose a problem for Islam because Islam will not. They really don't train with guys like that do crazy funky stuff. You know, they will, they can, they just don't. It's not in their repertoire of stuff that they do. You know what I mean? So that, I think, is this fight, I think, is gonna be one of the best fights of the year because of this type of interaction between the two of them. One is very, very good wrestler. One is very good submissions. He's got good stand up. You know, Dariush is wild and crazy and does things from different angles and is good off of his back as well as good as on top, but he leaves himself open. So it will make for a very fun fight.
It will. It's a great matchup. And again, we talked about it. I think it puts whoever is the winner of this in a position, like if they could almost jump that line, they can call out Justin Gaethje and say, hey, no, you don't get the next shot. Look, let's go now. And then we'll see who gets the next shot. So it's a way of cutting the line.
I think Dariush will probably just wait for his title shot and
nice.
let Justin just fight for the title next.
Just
and be like, I'll just wait. If Islam wins, he calls him out. He says, Justin, hey, let's just settle this. Let's just you and I fight before we fight for the title. We both just fought around the same time. Okay. This title fight's coming up here shortly. Both of us have just fought. I think that's why.
So
Islam took this fight
how
so close.
much will Ali get in the way of that since he manages both of them?
I don't think he will.
You don't think he will?
No, I think
you don't think he'll be making calls saying, hey, you know what? Let's just do this and we're going to make money.
No, I don't think he will. No, I really believe when it comes down to these type of situations, Ali just says, look, if you want to fight and you want to fight, then you guys need to fight. That's it. Like, I'm just here to make, like, I've already done my contract negotiations when it comes time for you guys for your contract negotiations for you guys' big paydays. Now, when it comes down to you two fighting, I can negotiate the terms in terms of it being a main event, in terms of it being a pay-per-view, whatever it is. But I don't think he gets in the way of those type of things. He understands that he's got the best stable of fighters right now in the whole game. You know, if you talk about the top fighters in the game, he's got a lot of them under his management. And so in that case, he's got to understand, I think he does understand, and these fighters need to understand, he really just needs to just stay out of the way and let the chips fall. Because if the UFC calls and says, hey, we want Justin and Islam, he's going to go, I prefer not to. I'd like to have them both fight for the title.
Yeah.
You know, I prefer not to. But he also understands Dana White. Dana's like, I need that fight. That fight needs to headline something because I need something to headline on this date, on this time. And I have things I got to get done. And that's how the UFC needs to work. They run like an organization that needs to put on fights. And that's all they got to do. So if he says, hey, I need Justin, I need Islam to fight, because what happens if Oliveira and Dustin Poirier are a great fight and then they want to run it back?
True.
Then what? Like you can't wait on that. So
Too many scenarios.
Too many scenarios to do, but I think that I think Islam ends up beating Dariush. It's going to be a fun fight. It's going to be better than most people expect. It's going to be a good fight. But I think if Islam wins, I think he calls out Justin. If Dariush wins, I think he lets Justin have the title shot and he slides in right behind for the next title shot. All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap us up today. Make sure you guys go to prowrestlingtees.com/weighing in. Use that promo code and still, and you guys can pick up one of our plethora of shirts that hopefully you guys enjoy. We've got the Karate Kid one. We've got the Home Improvement one. We've got a bunch of other ones that are up there in all different colors. Hopefully you guys enjoy this show, and make sure you guys hit the link down below that will take you to our Clips channel for our Weighing Interjection show that we only do on our Weighing In Extra channel there. So check that out. John, take us off the air, buddy.
I just want to tell everyone thank you for tuning in. Thank you to the amazing Kayla Harrison for talking to the punk and I know that's tough on her, and we will see you guys.